Hi all, welcome to this Player of the Month guide for the Premier League for September. So this should be pretty straightforward in theory, but at the same time expect a few curveballs potentially regardless. But if you could smash likes, as always, would be much appreciated. Sub to the channel if you're new, follow me on Twitter, G is a legend. All the links are down below for posting channel and social media links as always. Comment down below who you think will win the Premier League Player of the Month. Obviously we're thinking it's going to be Calvert-Lewin, but could easily go to Harry Kane. He is probably the next most likely shout for it. But fundamentally, if and also you've got Jamie Vardy as well to factor for his 5 goals. But realistically, the front three, the main 3 options are Kane, Vardy, Calvert-Lewin with Son. Now, in simple terms, I would say if it's Harry Kane, expect to be like say a 90 rated SBC, to at least make it use like a substantial difference between the an informed, because you don't want the informed version to just be an 89. Sorry, the Player of the Month version being 89, because you'd say, oh, I've already unlocked it. But the potential requirements that would apply to like Kane and Vardy, especially, I think Kane and Vardy would kind of be the same. They would like mirror each other, but there would be minor just like adjustments. So like Kane and Vardy, your like potential requirements would probably be one squad of maybe say 84, maybe even an 85 at the very most, and then you might have like one squad of like 82 or 83. So it's like, it comes down to how they want to do it. They're not going to make them too expensive to start off with. Remember last year Vardy's Player of the Month was cheap, it was like 15k to do, and it was straightforward. But obviously this year he's a higher rated card for a base card, but he's also likely for an inform to then have like a boost on top of it. So you're suddenly maybe looking at like an 89 Vardy and maybe a 90 Kane potentially. And what you would find is you're flat out can like 83, 84 for maybe say 2 squads for both of them, and then it's just a case of probably setting you back realistically say 70k, 70, 80k to do both players. For me personally, Kane wouldn't be worth it at like say 70, 80k. You'd probably want to be looking at him at 50, so that's why I'm saying like that's the extreme option. Like option 2 is maybe say like 283 rated squads, and that might set you back around say like 50, 60k, and that would maybe apply to both. And then like your final option is maybe just 183 or 184 like squad, and that would be to at least make it appealing. Like what you've got to do to Kane to make him usable is you'd have to put like Catalyst or Hunter on him. Vardy's case is kind of the same really. You'd almost have to put like a Hunter on him just to make him have the pace and the shooting to kind of stand out even more than he already has. So very lowest price I think they would make both cards, you're probably looking at 35, 40k at the very lowest. The very highest is 70 to 80k. And like I would personally say, if I was to pick between the two of Kane and Vardy, I would say Vardy gets the nod because of 3 wins and 5 goals, with one of the wins obviously being Man City. Now Calvert-Lewin, in regards to him, I would say is the most likely, and if I'm honest, could easily be like how I kind of vision Kramaric will be done, for example, and others that are kind of low rated that are cheap, where it could be 282s, 183, or whatever. It's like something that's cheap, like nothing, like it'll be 20, 30k to do Calvert-Lewin. Like Calvert-Lewin's got good pace, good shooting, good physical for a base card. You put him up to 84, then he's a bit more usable, because we'd assume he'd maybe be about 88 pace, 87, 88 pace, maybe 82 to 84 shot, and then at least maybe say 86, 87 physical, and then the dribbling and the passing, you'd imagine maybe close to 70 passing and nearly and plus over 80 dribbling. The only other negative with all three is Kane is 3-star, 4-star, Vardy and Calvert-Lewin are both 3-star, 3-star. So the usability on those elements is a bit weak as well. But as I said, the way to fundamentally expect to break each of them down is, if I expect all three to feature, but they won't necessarily be like, obviously only one's going to win, but looking at Vardy and Calvert-Lewin are your two kind of options. So look at your 82s to your 84s. That's kind of like your safety net. That's where I would say look at. So your 82s and 83s. So like, for example, for your 82s, I've constantly been seeing like Bender, like the right back version, because obviously the right back version, sorry, even the centre back version is an 81. So you've got quite a difference there. Then you've got like Bauman, Rulli, Rakitic, Ramsey, Mario Fernandes, Arnautovic, Vasilic. They're like your 82s. A smart 83 to kind of cover your back with are like Dele Alli and Dubravka. Then Trippier, Romagnoli, Pau Lopez, Acerbi, Vertonghen. Ruben Neves is an 82 worth having. Matinho, Visca, Dzeko, Vela, even if you want to think about it that way. If you're wanting to look at 84s, then you're starting to look at like Corona, and like expect him to even just be spiked anyway in value simply because of his name, sadly, which is a bit of a shame. But that's where I would like Corona's a smart option to kind of factor in for anyway, but you've also got to factor in that you'd say, right, from an 84 perspective, who kind of like not necessarily just fits the bill, but it's easy enough to kind of like fit in for like SBCs. That's kind of where you've got to look at it, because there is quite a lot to kind of break it down with, as it were, because 82s and 84s is kind of going to be, in my opinion, the area to look at. And there's always a good plethora to work with. So it's like Sirigu, Rui Patricio would probably be an uncommon one. So like having that maybe triangle of Ruben Neves, João Matinho and Rui Patricio, even though it's not a triangle of sorts, it's still worth handy having in. You can even factor Pizzi into that actually, so it wouldn't be exactly a bad shout. Then like Brozovic and Didi, maybe Fernandinho, despite obviously it's a position changing pace. Anana's always going to be common. Kasper Schmeichel. There's tons to work with. Like honestly, you can build like a plethora of routes, and you wouldn't be short. Lucas Leiva's another one. But expect, if I'm brutally honest, expect Wolves to be one of these type of teams to have a lot of players that you can kind of just use as SBC fodder this FIFA. Like as I said, Rui Patricio, Matinho, Ruben Neves, even him, like Raul Jimenez could be one as well. Philippe from Atletico, De Vrij, Burke. It's trying to keep smart with who's like not a card that's going to be too affected, as it were. Like you can say, oh, I can get this card and it'll fit in. It's not just fitting perfectly, but it's also just to kind of make your routes straightforward. But as I said, 82s to 84s, as long as you're covered in terms of those requirements, like 82 rated to 70 chem, same for 83s, same like even 70 chem at most, minimum 60 chem, 60 to 70 chem. As long as you're covered in that ballpark, you'll be fine between the 82s to the 84s. But I hope the squad guides, the breakdowns of like potential requirements, and then obviously the potential likely winners. I know Son's a shout as well, but I feel Kane, Vardy, Calvert-Lewin, but it's Calvert-Lewin and Vardy are the most likely. But hopefully you find this useful, folks. Let me know in the comments down below who you think could win the Premier League Player of the Month. Who would you like more? and would you do it, and how will you be preparing for it as well. So smash like as always folks, sub to the channel if you're new, follow me on Twitter, GSLegend, and I'll catch you all later.